Guys, listen up for a sec. Because this isn't clickbait. This isn't hype. The pattern you saw on the thumbnail, it's actually back. And yeah, the same exact pattern billionaires reacted to before 2008. And again, right before the 2020 meltdown just flashed. Again, I'm telling you straight. Everything you clicked for is right here in this video. The pattern is real. The 3 billionaire trades are real. And the urgency behind them is happening right now as we speak. So don't even blink. Don't go anywhere. Because what I'm about to show you, the middle class won't see this coming until it's way too late. And that's exactly why the big money moved before anybody noticed. They didn't wait for CNBC. They didn't wait for the Fed. They didn't wait for the headlines. They saw the signal, recognized the repeat, and made their plays fast. The kind of fast where their orders hit the market before half of Wall Street even knew what was happening. And look, I get it, every time someone talks about a crash, people either roll their eyes or they panic. But that's not what this is. This is positioning. Smart money doesn't fear downturns. They prepare for them, and they profit from them. And when you see what they're buying, it suddenly clicks. You feel that moment like, oh damn, they know something. And trust me, they do. In TSBDO, I'm breaking down the real charts no one's showing you on mainstream TV. These are the same charts the big players monitor behind closed doors. The repeat pattern that triggered their first move. The signal that told them, yeah, it's starting. And the craziest part, the 3 trades that came right after the ones billionaires positioned into immediately. The first one is obvious once you see the pattern. But trade number 2? That one genuinely shocked me. It's bold, aggressive. And honestly, they don't take that swing unless they're convinced about what's coming. And before we dive into those exact moves, before I show you why they acted so quickly, you need to understand the trigger. The moment the pattern flipped from curiosity to confirmation. Because once you see that signal with your own eyes, everything else in this video makes perfect sense. Why they protected themselves, why they took risk in a specific place, why they made a silent third move nobody's talking about. So stay locked in. Don't skip a second, because the breakdown of that signal is the key to the entire billionaire strategy. And that S, exactly where we re-going next. Alright, let me break this down, because what I'm about to show you is the exact trigger signal Wall Street hoped you de-scroll right past. No joke. The moment this flashed, smart money snapped into position like, yo, this is it. And if you've been in the markets long enough, you know this signal doesn't pop up for no reason. Every single time it's appeared in the past, something major followed. And now it's back, looking almost identical to the patterns we saw before the big ones, 2008, 2020, and even the mini panics in between. This is why billionaire money moved before anyone else even realized what was happening. Here's the wild part. When you look at the chart, it doesn't scream danger at first glance. It whispers it. It's subtle, almost too clean. And that's exactly what makes it powerful. History doesn't always repeat perfectly, but man, it definitely rhymes. And this rhyme is loud. The same formation that forced hedge funds to reposition within 48 hours the last time. It just fired again. Not similar, not kind of close. I'm talking almost a carbon copy. And that's the type of thing the big players watch like hawks. Retail investors, they're asleep. They're distracted, arguing on social media, looking at hype coins or meme stocks, while billionaires are staring at this one repeating pattern that has never shown up without a major move following it. And that right there is why they didn't waste time. They didn't wait for confirmation. The signal was the confirmation. And if you think I'm exaggerating, just wait until you see how this pattern behaved the previous 3 times. Every spike, every rollover, every momentum shift. It's like déjà vu printed on a chart. Now here's where it gets even more interesting. This signal doesn't tell them what's happening. It tells them what's about to happen. It's basically the market equivalent of smelling smoke before the fire hits the hallway. Billionaires aren't reacting to headlines. They're reacting to early data. They're reacting to pressure building under the surface. And This specific flash, it tells them one thing: reposition now, or head code. And that's the part that should grab your full attention. Because once you understand why this signal fired, the next moves, those 3 billionaire trades, suddenly make total sense. The first trade especially, it's the most logical, the most defensive, and the fastest move they always make when this pattern reappears. And trust me, once you see what they jumped into first, you'll understand exactly how serious this signal is, and why missing it would have been a massive mistake. Now, let's get into that first move. All right, lock in for this part, because this is where the story flips. If trade number 1 was the wealth shield, trade number 2 is the... And I am gonna say this straight. This is the one they don't tweet about, don't talk about on podcasts, don't hint at in interviews. Billionaires keep this one underground for a reason, because when they make this move, it usually means one thing: they smell blood, and they're ready to hunt. See, after they tuck their money somewhere safe, they don't just sit back. They wait. They watch. They measure the sentiment. And the moment the market gives even a tiny sign of weakness, they rotate into the kind of plays that explode when fear hits the retail crowd. They're not looking for stability here, they're looking for advantage. And that's exactly why trade number 2 is almost always aggressive. It's built for momentum, it's built for impact, and it's built to grow fast when the rest of the market is pulling back. Here's the part most people never see. Only insiders track this flow because the big players disguise it. They spread orders out. They layer the timing. They mask the volume. But when you zoom out and watch the pressure building in this category, it hits you. This isn't random. This is positioning, strategic, calculated positioning. And it happens quietly, long before retail investors wake up and say, "Wait, what's going on?" And that's the sad truth. Retail always finds out months too late. By the time the average person sees a headline or a social media panic post, billionaires are already deep in this second move, collecting gains from the exact volatility everyone else is running from. That's why their portfolios grow during downturns instead of shrinking. They shift into plays that benefit when the market gets shaky. Plays that reward anticipation, not reaction. And there's a real emotional undertone here too. This move isn't made out of fear, it's made out of confidence. You don't go aggressive unless you already know the wind direction. Billionaires aren't guessing. They're reading pressure points, liquidity gaps, sentiment cracks, and trade number 2 is their way of saying, we're not just protecting ourselves, we're positioning to win. But here's where the whole situation gets even more insane. Trade number 2 is bold. Yeah, it's aggressive, it's intentional, and it tells you exactly how they think. But the third move, oh man, that's the one nobody expects. It's subtle, silent, and honestly, the most surprising positioning of all. And the craziest thing, it's already paying off quietly behind the scenes, while most people don't even realize it exists. So let's dive into the third and final move, the one that reveals their real long game. All right. Lean in for this one, because trade number 3 is the move almost nobody sees coming. If the first trade was protection, and the second trade was aggression, this third one, this is quiet power. This is the don't tell anybody I did this move. The kind of play billionaires make when they don't want attention, they don't want noise, they just want results. And the craziest part, this is the one that makes them billions. Silently, no headlines, no discussions, just cold, calculated positioning while the rest of the market is distracted. Say, billionaires understand something the average investor doesn't. The biggest opportunities don't show up on trending charts or social media feeds. They show up in the assets people ignore. The boring stuff, the categories that don't get hype until it's too late. And that's exactly why they slide into this third move before anyone notices, because this type of asset sits still when everything else shakes and then pops when panic spreads. This isn't a hero play. It's not something flashy or high risk. It's strategy, surgical, quiet. It's the place where money hides right before the storm hits, and then grows when the storm starts knocking things over. And when you look back at every major downturn, you see the same pattern. The same subtle rotation. The same silent buying before things get messy. It's the billionaire version of stepping into a safe room, but finding out that safe room also pays you while chaos hits the hallway. And emotionally, this is where their mindset hits a different level. They're not just defending anymore. They're flipping the downturn into profit. They are turning fear into opportunity. They're preparing for the moment when the market dips, sentiment cracks, and people start making emotional decisions. Billionaires don't react emotionally. They prepare for the emotional reactions of everyone else. And this third move is exactly where that preparation turns into advantage. The beautiful part about this positioning is how invisible it is. Retail never sees it early. They only realize it after the charts explode, after the news reports something shifted, after the billionaires already collected the gains. And by then, it's too late to catch the real move. That's why this third trade is so powerful. It's not about timing, the top or bottom. It's about understanding the cycle before the cycle hits. But here's the real question. What does this actually mean for you? How do you avoid being the person who wakes up after the move is already gone? And how do you make sure you don't miss this window that billionaires are already slipping through quietly, almost secretly? Because the answer to that is what I'm breaking down next, and it's the part most people never hear. Don't scroll past this, because what I'm about to break down could be the difference between watching the crash eat your savings or actually positioning yourself ahead of it. The pattern isn't just theory anymore. It's happening live, right in front of us, and the billionaires aren't hesitating. They're already in motion, and every move they've made follows the exact sequence we just covered. Cash, gold, and volatility plays three trades that have built generational wealth in every major crash over the last century. And here's the kicker. Most middle-class investors, they react too late. They panic, and they lose. But the big players, they move early and quietly. And that is exactly why you need to understand what is happening before it is too late. Let's recap fast so it sticks. Trade 1, locking in cash. That's the defensive shield. They preserve capital while the market sneaks toward chaos. Trade 2, gold and hard assets. That's the wealth preservation layer. The part that keeps purchasing power intact while fiat currencies wobble. Trade 3, volatility instruments, puts, swaps, and other hedges. That's the profit engine, quietly raking in gains while panic spreads. The synergy of these three trades isn't random. It's mechanical. It's a playbook written by history itself. And billionaires don't just guess. They read the signals and act decisively. Here's the emotional part you need to grasp. Middle-class investors see the fear headlines and wonder, is it time? But by then, the window has already shrunk. Most people wait for permission from the news, from social media, or from analysts. That's when losses happen. You, right now, have the chance to see it first, understand it first, and position yourself before the herd even realizes the signal flashed. This isn't panic. This isn't gambling. This is about positioning. Billionaires aren't scared. They're preparing, they're calculating. They're already planting the seeds of profit before chaos hits full swing. And the clock is ticking faster than most people think. Insider sales, gold accumulation, volatility bets, all of it is telling you the same thing. The window is shrinking, and the next 12 to 18 months could define whether you're ready or left scrambling. Now here's where you stay in control. Watch what's happening, understand the patterns, and position mentally first. Study the plays, recognize the triggers. And if you want me to go deep into exact tickers, timing, and the way they execute each move, let me know. I'll drop part 2 and show you how the billionaires really lock in their profits. You don't want to miss that.